So in this video, we're going to be calculating moles, mass, and molar mass. Make sure you got your periodic table. Make sure you get a calculator. We're working off of page 119 through 124 in a textbook. This video, two things. We're going to learn what is a mole. We're going to learn how to solve calculation problems for the mole. We're going to use a formula. And that formula is, of course, number of moles. To get those equals mass divided by molar mass. But yeah, let's show you here. Let's pull up a screen. Some of the key things you got to have. So yeah, make sure you got your periodic table. Textbook, we're at about page 119, 120 on from there. This shows you the kind of problems you're going to be able to solve after this video right here. So basically questions like how many moles are there in 8.4 grams of potassium hydroxide? Actually, how about this one? How many moles in 4.2 kilograms of water? We're using this little formula triangle. We know that the number of moles, or N, is equal to mass, which we have right there, 4.2 kilograms, over the molar mass. Molar mass, we just get it off the periodic table. We just add the molar mass of two hydrogens, water, right? H2O, so it's about 18 grams. So this is obviously, you know, a fair number of moles, this question. But yeah, we'll get to that. Let's get our notes going. Use pause. Take notes along with me here. First thing we're going to start with is just what is a mole. I mean, it's ultimately what we use to balance equations. The reason why we're balancing equations is so we have the right number of moles. And it's just like baking. It's so that we can make, you know, scrumptious little pancakes like you see here. So write this down with me. We balance equations. This is the actual reason that you're balancing equations. We balance equations to get the right number of moles. To get the right moles, yeah. Just let's put it down here. Okay, so a mole is a standard measure. Just like in baking, we have standard measures called a cup. Same thing with the mole. It's an exact measure. See here, to make these beautiful little pancakes, we exactly measure out the 3 cups and then exactly half a cup of sugar. A mole is much like this number right here. When we say dozen, we all know what a dozen means. It means a 12, right? Well, now when you say mole, it means a specific number of either atoms or molecules, but little particles, right? A specific, it's a 6 followed by 23 zeros. It's a huge, huge number, but just like 12, it's a number. And, you know, wouldn't surprise you that, say, 1 mole of carbon, let's take a look at 1 mole of carbon, what that is, right there. It looks like about that much. And yeah, on your periodic table, write this down. 1 mole of carbon, you can look it up on your periodic table. It's that number right underneath carbon. 1 mole of carbon is exactly, now it's not, you know, this is still a bit not estimated. It's rounded off a little bit on your periodic table. But for us, Science 10, 1 mole of carbon is exactly 12.01 grams! Exclamation point. Okay, so you're looking at it right there. That's exactly 12 grams. There is a 6 followed by 23 zeros. If we actually wanted to count up how many carbon atoms are actually there, that is actually how many carbon atoms are there. Like it's a specific, just like this is exactly a dozen, this is exactly a mole. So it's an exact number. So here's my question. Hey, we're already solving problems right now. What if I have 24 grams of carbon? How many moles is that? I think we can do this one in our head, right? 24 grams of carbon. Well, 1 mole is 12, 24 grams, 2 moles. Okay, those are the kinds of problems we're doing. We're doing a little harder ones. Now, in terms of moles, all particles you can figure out whether they're an atom or whether it's a molecule or whether it's a compound. We just use our periodic table. As long as we got the formula, we can figure out how much 1 mole of water would be right there, right? We'd add up those numbers. But let's write this down in your notes again. And, you know, use pause because I'm kind of going over stuff quickly. But each element has a molar mass. You'll see that. right? Each element's got a molar mass. It depends on how many protons and neutrons, right, are in here. So lithium only has 3 protons, 4 neutrons, so it's smaller. It's a smaller atom versus, I don't know, something like silicon, right? Silicon's got 14 protons, 14 neutrons. Its mass is 28. Kind of makes sense, right? So 1 mole, write this down, 1 mole of lithium, and then right beside it, put the molar mass. Hit pause. I'm going to write it in a second here, but you write it first. 6.94 grams, right? Okay, you do this one. 1 mole of iron. Write down this in your notes. 1 mole of iron, get the answer right there. Again, press pause before I write it. 55.85 grams. Again, this makes sense. Lithium is a smaller atom, only 3 protons, 4 neutrons. Iron, 26 protons, what is that? 29 or so. Actually, that would round up to 56. Oh yeah, so it'd be like 30, right? 26 protons, 30 neutrons. It's a bigger atom. If we have an exact number, think of it this way. If we had 12 lithiums, that would weigh less than 12 irons, right? And that's what you're seeing here. These are just different numbers. Now, those are a couple elements. Again, you could get a compound like water. You just add up these 3 numbers here to get the molar mass of water. What about this? 1 mole, figure this one out. 1 mole of oxygen, right? And I said oxygen, but of course, this is how we write it, O2. Well, it's a molecule, right? So it's 2 atoms. It's O2. Therefore, right? 2 times 16.00, 32 grams. That's how much 1 mole of oxygen. And yes, a gas has mass. That's why birds can fly, right? There's something there. And of course, balloons, you know, we have a party. We're going to put some air, some gas, and some balloons, right? Some oxygen or nitrogen, etc. Okay, so we have the basic idea of what a mole is. It's a standard measure. It's a standard number of either atoms or molecules, or, you know, with a compound, that would be a molecule. Standard number. And so that you can exactly do chemical reactions just like baking. Okay, let's try a problem now. And again, pause as I go here. Here's our question. How many moles are there in 901 grams of glucose? We know the formula for glucose is what, you know, plants make in photosynthesis. And so, you know, we're going to need to get a process going. We're going to need a formula here. We're going to use that little formula triangle that we saw quickly there at the beginning. Didn't see it for too long. But we use formula triangles in math and science. It really helps us to solve calculation problems. So make the following formula triangle. You're going to want to write this out like literally hundreds of times just to get comfortable with it. Okay, so mass and then number of moles. So the little m is mass, the big M is molar mass. Put that on it, put a little times sign there. Okay, you'll see how this works in a moment, but let's just, if we were asked for mass, which we're not in this question, we're actually given the mass. So mass is equal to N times M, N times big N, or number of moles times molar mass. Again, say it as you write it. Number of moles, or little n, equals the mass divided by molar mass. I think that's what we're going to use to solve this, right? That one right there. But you could also get molar mass, right? Molar mass is equal to mass divided by number of moles. But a reminder, molar mass, big M, just a periodic table. I mean, make sure you have the formula. If you have the formula, which we do here for glucose, we know it, you should know it, the formula and the periodic table. Use those 2 things, right? Whether you want the molar mass of O2 gas, or you want the molar mass for nitrogen or sodium, or in this case, glucose, get the formula, check the periodic table, calculate it up, right? Okay, so we are indeed going to solve this problem. The process Let's go through the process. Use the same process over and over. We got 901 grams of glucose. It would look about like that. It would look almost exactly like this right here. Okay, so I wonder how many moles, how many exact molecules of glucose. That's pretty powerful what we're about to do. We're literally going to tell how many molecules of glucose are in there. Okay, there's your question. Your first thing is to write the formula triangle out. Draw it out for yourself. The little m, the tiny m, n, the big M, mass, number of moles, molar mass, say it, right? Now what we do, the way formula triangles work, if we were looking for mass, we just cover that up and it's N times M, right? So that's how the triangle works. You just put your finger on top, and if you're looking for mass, it's N times big M. What if we were looking for number of moles, which is actually what we're looking for here? We cover that up. And so the number of moles is equal to little m, or mass, and say it as you write it, over molar mass. All right, well, let's just do the last one here. If we were looking for molar mass, we covered up the big M. If we're trying to solve for big M, put the big M, and we'll put little m over little n. But again, a reminder, where do we get molar mass? As long as we have the formula, as long as we have the name or know what we're talking about, we just get it off the periodic table, right? So you don't need to do any fancy dancy solving and stuff, right? We just going to get this right here. We're going to use our periodic table, and we know the formula for glucose, C6H12O6, so just calculate it, right? Now, with a problem-solving question like this, and again, we've got our question. Maybe I'll just copy it real quick here, just so we got focused. We can see our question. Actually, I'll just bring it down. Okay, there's our question. First of all, start with your formula triangle. First thing. Next, what's the given information in a question? Use this process with any science question in any course, and use it in math as well. The given information, do we have the mass? Yep. We got 901 grams. Already, we got information. Do we have the number, or the little n, the number of moles? And write it down just like I'm writing this down right here, right now. Do we have the number of moles? No, that's what we're looking for. What about molar mass? Now, we don't have it yet, but we can get it. We get the formula for glucose. We should actually know that formula. So molar mass, well, let's calculate it right now, right here. C6H12. I'm just going to kind of write it this way so I can add it all up, right? O6. So 6 carbons right off the periodic table. 6 times 12.01 grams, obviously. I'm just going to kind of write that out like that. You know it's grams. To get the mass of 12 hydrogens, 12 times 1.01 grams. And the mass of 6 oxygens, 6 times 16.00. Okay, you're going to want to pause the video. You're going to want to make sure I got this right. Do I have the right formula for glucose? Is it indeed C6H12O6? I'm sure I got it right, but check that. Check if I got this right, that that's the atomic molar mass of carbon, atomic molar mass of hydrogen, oxygen, etc. Do the calculations, hit pause for sure. And now I'm going to put my answers here using a calculator. This is 72.06 grams. This is 12.12 grams. And this is 96.00 grams. Add that all up again. Hit pause. Make sure we get this right. 180.18 grams per mole. For 1 mole of glucose, it's going to weigh 180.18 grams. So yeah, I got the molar mass here. That is some of the information the question gives me. I had to do a little bit of analysis and solving, but it's there. Okay, so you take the given, and now we ask ourselves, what does the question ask? What's required? What's it asking? Oh yeah, it's number of moles. We kind of knew that at the beginning, right? Like you do need to just kind of make sure you know what the question's asking at the beginning, but definitely we outline it right here. So little n, sorry, little tiny n, number of moles. Okay, that's what we're looking for. So n is equal to, again, just do your formula triangle, right? So little m, little n, big M. If I want to get just little n, I cover that up, right? Put a cover on top of it. So it's going to be mass over, or little m, over big M, over molar mass. Let's fill those numbers in. We got them above here, right? So it's just fill in the blank at this point. We're now on to, we did some analysis. We're now on to solving. 901 grams over molar mass of 180.18 grams per mole. Put your units there. And again, we're going to cancel out the grams, right? We're going to get moles. We are going to get number of moles. The process I've used, given information, required information. I did some analysis, right? Trying to figure out what the formula I'm going to use. And now I'm on to solve. It's grasp, G-R-A-S. And then P is paraphrase. We write a sentence. This is our last chance. Check if we're right. Try to spell paraphrase correctly. You can tell me later. Send me an email. Okay, so I'm going to solve this. I'm going to plug it into a calculator. You hit pause. Make sure we get this right. Okay, turn the video back on. Mole, 5 moles, right? And now we're going to paraphrase. We're just going to write our sentence right here. 5 moles of glucose, C6H12O6, right? That's glucose, solid. 5 moles of glucose has a mass. So we just rewrite the question. Has a mass of 901 grams. Period. Done. Okay. So what we've done here in this video, we know what a mole is. We know how to solve problems. This is the process you want to go through. You do want to try this, practice this exact question on your own again. But here's what's next. There's an assignment in the Moodle course. But before you do that, go and use these steps that we went through, how to calculate for moles using the formula triangle here. Go and do these practice questions on page 120. Now, you don't have to do every last one of these, but do a few of these on 120. Pick a couple of these or so on 122. Try those. You've got the answers to these in the Moodle site, so you can try these for practice and then check the answers. For sure, do a few of these as well on page 123, 17, and 18. Try a few of those. Do those first, then do the assignment in Moodle. And ultimately, what did we learn? We learned what a mole is. A mole is a standard exact measurement, an exact number of a certain either element or compound. We know how to solve for moles. If I want to know how many moles there are, the number of moles, I need to know the mass, and I need to know my molar mass. Well, molar mass would be right here, right? For water, we would just add that up. The molar mass for water, 18.02, right? Grams per 1 mole. But we might also want to get the mass, and to get the mass, number of moles times molar mass. So yeah, do some practice. Go through the video maybe a couple times just to make sure. Do the practice in the textbook, and then do this assignment in Moodle. These questions right here. Okay. Take care. Video's over. Science 10 out. Just gonna hit pause. You guys have a good day.